We want to address what's happened recently in the industry, what you've been through.
A lot of people had like misconceptions of like, oh, you knew this was going to happen.
But what would you say the number one mistake was?
I don't want it to be something like what happened, but in reality it was like...
We know a lot of influencers aren't as profitable, but they promote a lot of education as if they are, but their real income source is from the education.
I'm not like a massively profitable trader, especially with the podcast. I've not been trading as actively.
But why trading?
Really unprofitable for like 3.5, 4 years. Lost a lot of money.
I guarantee you, if I DM'd 99.999% of the Twitter influencers and said, hi mate, how are you? Would you like to set another firm up? And all you have to do is content. Every single one of you would say yes. Anyone that says they wouldn't is not telling the truth, because I have your DMs asking for 10 grand accounts. It's now 10:40 in the morning. I'm drinking Coca-Cola.
Oh, don't bubble
And the
me
lads
up.
are
The time
folded.
of day that it is.
Folded.
It's Pips and Pints,
Folded,
so it
yeah,
was
exactly.
hard. Well, I had a coffee
Alcoholic
on the
tonight.
first one. That was at 9 a.m.
You did. But listen, I'm keeping it sensible because of the fitness routine, as I said before. Right,
You
so
did just have a beer downstairs, though. But
0% beer, mate. Don't tell fibs here.
Yeah.
Right, so the as we said just before, our main vision with Alpha Capital Group as a group is to, one, ensure that we're giving the best service. Sorry, that's a train that's just gone above my head. One is to make sure that we're giving the best service, the best platform to trade on, and the best community and contact we possibly can, which I believe we do that very well. And I'm sure a lot of you do agree with that. I'm sure there'll be some people whinging, because there always is. But we do that very well, and we stand proud with that. And obviously the Newcastle office, we're going to be looking to speed the support up.
Yep.
Issue accounts faster than 5 days.
it's down to about 3 now.
About 3 now. Oh yeah, all right. But issue them faster. But more importantly, I know you guys like to see our beautiful faces, or my beautiful face now and again, but we do not have time, as much time as we want, to make ourselves a content powerhouse, which I love. I love content. I love involving the community. I love really...
Well, it's a way that we showcase what we're doing and how we're doing it, but taking a day, 2, 3, 4 days out of a month, every single month's a lot of days with all the projects that we're building, and you just shot every single bullet that we was holding in our pocket to release, over time. Last episode, you told them absolutely everything we was doing. So, well done. And after, so
careful.
But yeah, so we're obviously busy building all these projects that we've got to build. So to find time for all, to keep doing the Pips and Pints. We will do Pips and Pints, but the other stuff around that is difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. And I
to find time for.
How I see Alpha Capital Group is, at the moment we're like Newcastle United, and we don't have that top striker in the team for the content, and that's why we've been looking for that star player to come and help us and a team to really drive, one, phenomenal content all over the world, and two, phenomenal things to do for our community. So we've got, I don't want to reveal all the plans, George, but I'll reveal one: Alpha Capital Games, a couple of other really exciting things. And as we said on the talk earlier today, we obviously had a look around, and we saw one man by the name of Riz Burgundy, or Riz Iqbal, bit of a big deal in the podcast world. As you all may know, we saw an opportunity, and we wanted to, stick our rod in the pond basically, and see if we could reach out to Riz and see if there's any possibility that he can come internally for Alpha as a content creator. I repeat that, as a content creator, to lead the direction and vision of his content, because what he's done with his YouTube channel to get 175,000 subscribers is phenomenal, and I'm sure him and his team can do the same for us. So Riz, do you want to come and sit next to Drew? And we'll give a round of applause, everyone. Come on, lads. Riz, obviously, do you want a glass? Are you all right with that?
No, I'm good.
Welcome to the Alpha team.
Thank you. No, thank you for having me.
First podcaster influencer guest that we've
Yep.
ever had on, which I think what you've done with your content is absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
I
appreciate it.
I think, you just, the way you handle yourself on them interviews, so on and so forth, and the people you get in front of is just great. So it's really, really good stuff. And
how long have you actually been doing this for, Riz?
I think it's coming up to 2 years. In May.
that's mad. 2 years, 175,000 subscribers on YouTube.
It's been insane.
Did you have a long period at the start, maybe in the first few months, where did you immediately gain traction?
No, like first 9 months, literally how I started it was just interviewing my friends who were traders, interviewing my friends, people I could reach out to. And so the first 9 months was very sort of a slow grind. I think we started the podcast, the channel had like 2,000 subscribers. By the end of the year, so we started around May, by the end of the year we got to 5,000. And the average views were basically 1,000 per episode, every episode. And then I had one guest on in Dubai, Raja Banks, in January. And then that one took us to 10,000 subscribers straight away.
On that one episode.
That one episode.
One episode.
Yeah, and then there was a response video, which is our biggest video on the channel, MBB Trader. And his was like a response to Raja's episode. And then that one just blew it up from there. And then
So
we just continued.
Did you find that really the hardest thing in your industry, I would imagine, I don't know, but I would imagine, is gaining those first 1,000 to 5,000 views, I would imagine, and then it kind of builds quite quickly from there?
I feel like it's just the longevity, just sticking at it. I think most people just quit things. I've seen people start pods,
Yeah,
they do
100%.
3 or 4, and they stop.
Same as
That's
trading,
that's
right?
a good question itself, because you see a lot of traders that trade, and with Twitter is how it is. There's a lot of people that start to become kind of Twitter trading influencers. They get 5,000-10,000 followers. They start doing a group giveaways. It works for them. But I mean, for you, how did you turn into? How did you find that route to become? Start podcasting and doing trading, influencing and content.
What was your background before that?
Was that something that you wanted to do, or you just fell into
I always wanted to get into social media, but for years I held myself back because I was just overthinking. Like what would people think and what would I do?
Yeah.
Once I started, it was quite a natural thing. Like, I've never used scripts. I've never been comfortable with scripts. I've been quite comfortable with the camera. If I showed you like
opposite
the
to you,
first,
basically.
This is not scripted. I wish it was.
But if I show you like some of the first content I ever made, there's a stark difference between then and now.
Yeah.
But even then, it was a similar approach. But I took to it quite well, and I just kind of enjoyed the process. There was a period before the podcast, though, where I was making just the generic content, like top 3 mindset tips for traders and case studies. And I didn't enjoy that as much because yes, it was like value and trying to create value still, but it just felt generic and just like, where's the difference? It's the same as everyone else.
But why trading? Were you into trading?
Yeah, I've been a trader. So I started trading 9 years ago. Really unprofitable for like 3.5, 4 years. Lost a lot of money that I didn't need to lose necessarily.
Becoming an influencer would be easier then.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Luckily changed that around, but then I'm not like a massively profitable trader, especially with the podcast. I've not been trading as actively. I think I traded in December and January.
Yeah.
Did a few payouts there, and then.
But even that though, just admitting that, we know a lot of influencers
They give it the
aren't
larger
as
and the
profitable.
larger, yeah.
They're not that profitable.
They're not
But
profitable
they
at all,
promote
most of them.
education. No, yeah, but they promote a lot of education as if they are, but their real income source is from the education and from from the affiliate deals. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But not shining the light on that you're not actually that much of a profitable trader is a little bit deceitful. But you just owned up to that straight away, which
So I don't like make hundreds of thousands from the markets. Like, it's a weird one as well because I don't spend enough time in the markets to even try and do that.
Yeah.
Right. And the thing is, I still love trading. So people say to me, "Oh, you're just a podcaster." I don't mind that either. Like, I don't mind not trading either.
Yeah.
And the beauty of the podcast with mine anyway, compared to others who have started, is I don't sell education. I don't promote education, and I've never promoted it as like I'm this incredible trader.
Yeah.
So that's why you should listen to me.
Yeah, of course.
Instead, it's like I'm talking to incredible traders
of course.
and listen to them.
It's what people want to see. They don't want to see.
Yeah.
They want to see these incredible traders. And it's funny enough. There's a young lad. I'm not going to mention his name, and I speak to him quite a lot. And he started his TikTok and he started his Instagram, and he asked me what his thoughts were, and it's like, I know his situation with trading. I know he hasn't got a few quid. I know he's just coming up, but he's a really down-to-earth kid, or not being disrespectful, he's only like 18, but young lad, wants to get on in life, got a big vision. And I actually mentioned you, I said, look at what Riz has done. Where he's done so well is, rather than promoting, do this, or I'm a great trader, be yourself, tell the story. We all know, regardless of what field you're in, broker, good looking fella, whatever you want to call it.
Thank you, man.
My missus keeps telling me that, so I'm a bit worried, to be honest. You're going to fall down, you're going to fail at first, so show people what they want to see. Show what the real thing is, and if you stay real, which you've done then we'll go on to the other bit after. Throughout all of it, stay real, man. You know, and people.
I mean, even Drew, you come from a very tightly regulated institutional background. That's where you are. That's where you've always been. How many traders have you come across in your decade of trading that are really the level of, you know, beating the market year in, year out,
wise.
month in, month
What
out?
I would say is the percentages are the same. So there's generally like a 70-30%.
Even the guys that are qualified, you know, they've gone through all the ranks, they've got into the offices, and they've still that
Emotion.
but there's still that 70% of the people that have made it through the ranks and are still failing, right?
The reality is, those guys that you mentioned there, they've become qualified, but sitting in an exam is very different to when you actually want to
Sitting in the market,
Yeah, of course.
all the psychology kicks in.
Look at the people. Some of our biggest payouts come from people that got nothing to do with the financial industry whatsoever. So honestly, the percentages don't really move at all. But when you're talking about that type of trading, we're talking about highly leveraged derivative, right? CFDs. It's a difficult style trading. So there are a lot of good investors, but that's completely different to what we're talking
And
about.
also,
More long-term
it's,
stock.
you know yourself, you either want to, like with what we're trying to achieve in the prop industry, people are trading for income. They're trying to make an income. They're trying to get sponsored by us essentially and go through the process
trying to
and become a
replace
qualified
the 9 to
analyst.
5.
Yeah, trying to replace 9 to 5. Whereas a lot of people that we've seen they want to use CFDs to have a punt. So they might go 100 long at the footy. If they lose 10 grand.
But what you do find, just in life in general, as you get older, you become more risk averse in anything. You know, I'm talking about crossing the road as well as trading. And 18 to 30, I would say, is probably our demographic of customer. That's when you've got an appetite for risk. It's when you want to try and hit a big trade. There's nothing wrong with that. And I was exactly the same.
And that's how you learn, right?
Yeah. And as you get a little bit older, I wouldn't touch a CFD now. But myself,
I've seen you trade CFDs, Drew. Remember that, don't you?
I still got an appetite for risk, but it does come down as you get a bit older. You know?
Yeah, of course. And I think that leads to the other point. Obviously, we want to address what's happened recently in the industry. I'm not going to mention the firms. I don't think that's right to do.
Nope.
But obviously, what you've been through recently. You know, how's everything going?
It's good. I'd say good in a sense that it was very chaotic the whole month last month.
Yeah.
Even leading up to it, a lot of people had like misconceptions of like, oh, you knew this was going to happen months ago or a long time ago, but it's literally like a build-up of a lack of like drips and drabs of information. But then the day before everything sort of ceased was when we found out it was ceased. So but leading up to that point, there was loads of different calls of trying to find out what's happening, what's going
you're
on.
getting sold to probably as well.
Yeah, it was just a really big. There's just a lot of chaos. You know, a lot of chaos, and then when it did end up happening, that's like essentially someone in my position's worst nightmare, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But in reality, I was literally reflecting on this last couple of days. So it's been good in the sense that things have calmed down a bit. You get into a bit more of a clearer headspace to reflect.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking a few months back, like, obviously the podcast did incredible, and that's why I get to meet incredible people. Probably why I'm here today.
Thank you.
But it's like it was just going up.
Yeah.
You know, and it wasn't always that, obviously, when we started it, as we talked about, but after that point, it was just going up for a large chunk of time. And it was incredible, a huge blessing. And I always just had in my head that nothing does this. You know, nothing just goes up forever, right? And there's always going to be something. Obviously, I don't want it to be something like what happened, but in reality, it was like something was bound to happen to sort of bring things down a bit.
I mean, because you've done two videos on your channel, which was, you know, talking about the situation and what happened. And just to recap, I mean, I put you probably on the spot a little bit here, but what would you say the number one mistake was with that situation? And if you was to go back, you know, a year ago to, you know, start the same thing, how would you do it differently?
I would say, and it's something I've learned to really carry forward now, is literally just ask the questions that you want to ask. And the things that are in your mind of like, okay, I'm wondering what's that about, I want clarity there. Just force it. Just say it. Like you need that.
And did you avoid those type of questions because it would have turned a bit awkward, maybe asking them questions?
There's a bit of both. So we would ask certain things, and then it was more like I don't know how to describe it because I don't want to say like I don't want it to seem like I'm just villainizing.
No.
But it's more so just like they're very good at talking, right? Yeah. And they're very good at making you happy, right? Yeah. Give you responses that would be like, that's satisfactory. Yeah. Let's move forward then.
Just tell you what you want to hear.
Yeah, and then it would move on to the next step, and then it wouldn't, and then it would happen again, or this wouldn't change. But there were certain things where I would ask it and we'll just leave it because you get busy, right? So you would ask it, okay, we're gonna get back to you. Okay, cool. Then I'm going off and filming their pods or filming this or that. And then a month or two's gone by and nothing's come back to you. So then you ask again and the same answers, and you get, okay, and then it just ends up being 6 months later. So I would say just like getting more active in terms of, getting a deadline, okay, 3 days, day 3, where is it? Right? And then saying, I need it now. And not allowing to accept excuses because they shouldn't be acceptable. And I feel that was one of those things where it's like, oh, I'm not on that side of the business, so maybe I don't know how it works. Maybe it is a bit harder to find that out. But then when in reality, and I think seeking counsel is very good, which obviously which is really, it's kind of like backwards in a sense, because during it I wasn't getting too much counsel, but then afterwards, obviously I'm getting all the counsel in the world. I'm speaking to people who they might not have gone through something similar, but they're in my position or much higher. And I'm speaking to them like, what do you think of this? Or what do you think to that? Or this is actually what happened. What are your thoughts? So like seeking counsel throughout, not just making decisions alone, especially in, if I've never been in a business in the financial industry at all, but then equally just a 7-figure business in general, 7 to 8-figure business in general.
But that's the same as the three of us.
I
haven't run a 7-8-figure business, obviously, before this, when Drew has done. So the most of the stuff that we lean on Drew for.
We say we would have messed this up a couple of times if it wasn't for his advice or give stuff away.
There's been many times where we've been at a crossroads section.
Me and you like, let's do it. And he's like, no.
Go left. And then Drew's like, no. Hold on a minute, lads, chill out. We should go right. This is why. And we've gone right.
It's just a slow down approach.
Yeah, sometimes you do just say, just wait, just slow down. Just rethink this. Let's just talk this over. And even sometimes just that little bit more patience, and then the clarity comes, and then you do. But that
generally
helps
they're good ideas, but they use the slow down approach and then the what if approach. So imagine
what if
that, the backlash could be this. So let's just try and just dot the I's, cross the T's, then we'll push forward.
Do you know what? Do you know one thing I would say to anyone that's watching this, right? And I'm sure you're well aware of this. 3 of us, we aren't dumb. Right? We wouldn't be sitting next to someone like yourself to open the door saying, come into the business if we thought you'd done anything wrong. But the bottom line is very, I need to address this properly because it does, I can feel my blood just boiling a little bit, right? I've seen a lot of stuff on Twitter because obviously I run the Twitter account. Same people that are saying stupid comments are the same people I have in my Discord messages or Twitter messages. Oh, can I do this for you? Can I do that? I guarantee, and I'll say it again, I've said it once. I guarantee you, if I DM'd 99.999% of the Twitter influencers and said, hi mate, how are you? Would you like to set another firm up? And all you have to do is content. And we'll run the back end, us 3 here, use our faces. We'll do everything for you and sold you that dream and I'll pay you 50, 100 grand a month. Every single one of you would say yes. Anyone that says they wouldn't is not telling the truth because I have your DMs asking for 10 grand accounts. So, that's my main thing when I approached you. And a lot of people were like, oh, what are you doing? I was like, no, the guy has been great at what he does. Someone's basically trying to leverage your brand name, which is what we're trying to do. Let's not get it right. He's great at what he does. And then pulled the rug underneath you. So anyone with a bit of common sense that would have just been coming up, like you say, in 2 years, have blew this big channel up and have been approached by a top leader of the industry to go and do something for them. Anyone would do that in a heartbeat, I would have done that in a heartbeat. You would have done that in a heartbeat, wouldn't you? Because you think then people know what they're doing. But little know, we're here. But thank God we're here in many ways. Not for anyone, but for us, for Alpha, I think we think you're phenomenal at what you do. And that's what we said in the conversations. We'd love you to come and work in Alpha as a group. One, you're based in the UK, we're London based. We can build that. We've got Alpha Capital Group, Alpha Futures, ECG Markets, Alpha Stocks, Alpha Comps. We've got so many big plans that unfortunately you're a lot better, or fortunately, you're a lot better than us than content. Don't let what's just happened to you pull you back because you just got to drive forward now. And we'd love you to come in. I think we're all in agreement there. We were that last week. To come in, we've got your back. Do you know what I mean? Pick the flag up and say, look, you're leading from the front with content. You're not involved in anything. You don't own the business. You make no business decisions here. You be employed by us to do content to drive it forward. And I think, you having a home here with us will do very well for us, Alpha as a brand. will do well for you as well, because you learn from your mistakes. And this is a message to go to everyone, yeah? When you're doing, like Riz just said, going up, you will fall. Everyone falls. But it's how you get back up that matters, And don't listen to the naysayers. You're going to get a lot of people that talk shit and you can't do this, even some of your own family. Just get back up, dust yourself off and go again. And that's how success is done. So I'm looking forward to see if you agree to come. I know we're still talking about it at the moment, but I'm sure we'll work something out. Let's build this together, get back on the horse and drive forward, because we've got no shame in that. Would you agree?
That's very inspiring, Alex, actually, yeah. Got goosebumps, mate.
Freedom! We horse hound.
No, I would agree. I would
Yeah.
wholeheartedly agree with you.
Yeah.
No, because I will say, like, I really appreciate what you did, especially during that, like, literally in the fire, if you will.
Yeah.
Because there was people I knew who did the opposite, for example. And it wasn't surprising to me, because I know in these moments is where people, you really find out who's there for you, who's
See
not.
the true self.
Yeah. And I don't even know you guys like that. Yeah. And we hadn't really communicated at any point before that. And it really showed what you guys stand for and your character and what you're willing to do as well. And it was very appreciated.
No, definitely.
And the amount of people who were DMing me after, Alpha's tweeted about you and so on, was crazy.
Well, I think I spoke to these guys, right, and we see it for what it is. You are a super affiliate. We've got super affiliates who work with us.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I'd offered any of them super affiliates a job,
we
they
won't
would've done
brush over the mistakes that was made, as you addressed
Yeah, no,
all those
100%.
mistakes.
The funniest thing is, like, me doing it,
Yeah.
the whole mindset was like, okay, I could just be like sponsor and be an affiliate essentially.
Yeah.
But the whole mindset of doing it this way was like, okay, I will be able to have more control.
Yeah, but you had
this
none.
is the stupid thing is, it's like
was the mistake.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the mindset was like, I'll be able to have more control this way, and it might make some more money too.
Yeah.
But
But at least
I'll have
you're
more control, right?
You're
Yeah?
in it. You're not just.
And then it ended up being not true and just silly. And that was really another learning point, like you say. Like, if that was the mindset, I should have followed through with that mindset and be aggressive with that mindset versus just being like, okay, let me go do my job now.
Yes,
You
of
know.
course.
And it's really unfortunate because, like, for me, I feel like it was just really badly ran.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you guys, I've not seen that before. I would, looking at it beforehand, I would look at it and say, okay, these guys know what they're doing because they built this great company. But I would imagine probably you guys have seen people build great things, but then they don't have the
sometimes
substance
things
behind
look
it.
great on the outside, and I'm not pointing the names, but just any industry. Sometimes companies look great on the outside, but when you actually get into the mechanics, and the infrastructure, and the back end of that company, it's all gleaming and shiny on the outside. It's just had a
Sales,
nice
marketing.
wax polish. Yeah. Excellent sales guys.
Would you say sometimes
Then you
people
get into the back end,
get
and
lucky
it's
as well?
all rusty and clunky, and it's a bit old hat, and
Yeah.
it's not all the newest
You've
tech.
also got to look at you've got to look at drivers, right? So here at Alpha, we want to build the biggest. We said it before earlier. We want to be the face of fintech in the whole of Europe. That's where we're going, right? And we've got so many avenues, and Drew's positions of that we can take this to in the future if we decide to go different routes. Yeah. But you've got to look at some of the setups of these firms, right? So let's say said firm looks great. Why would you set another 10, 20 firms up? Well, there's only one reason why you do that, and that's because of that. So if you're not focused on the main mechanics of that, and you're just focused on that, of course it's going to fail. It's just going to fail. How much do we reinvest in what we're trying to do?
We do.
All the time, constantly upgrades, great consultants, phenomenal, some of the best in the City of London.
But I also, just going back to what Riz was saying, I think that one of the most important things is keeping your ownership structure as simple as it needs to be. It's
clear.
Well,
To be fair, that's
don't take this
probably
the wrong
from
way.
day one. That's
Just
one of
going
the
back to
things
what
Yeah,
we
of
were saying.
You've always said that.
Some of the things that we could have went with, we'd have had 50 shareholders.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't work.
I mean, it was like, he wants to be a shareholder. I was like, here's have my shares.
Yeah, exactly. You got to keep your ownership structure simple, effective. Everyone knows where they stand. Then.
Yeah, no, agreed.
Ours is crystal clear and it's never changed. And like what we said, however long ago, we've always leaned on you for little things like that, which is, when certain deals have come up, even a year ago when we was much, much smaller, a lot less well.
We got approached by someone we thought was big in the industry, didn't we?
Yeah.
Not saying any names.
No.
And then we went back to you know who I'm talking about. I mean, him were like, oh, look what we've got. And he's like, that's not shit, no.
And that was the end of that.
He's an idiot, no.
And that it's helped.
Yeah.
But and that's to your situation, Riz. Because it wasn't just yourself. There was two others as well. But you didn't have that. You didn't have the the older hat to lean on in that situation, because your older hat was it was almost like you versus them. You know, it didn't seem like it was that cohesive from watching your 2 videos.
Well, before that point, I never thought about having actual legal counsel. Never thought about having like.
You never thought you'd be in that position.
Yeah, well, I feel like, again, these are the things that I should have thought about beforehand.
But that's like
But this is how you learn about it in one
Everyone's
sense.
got a plan until they get
I was
punched
just
in the
thinking
face.
that, you've nicked it.
Everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the face, and you guys got punched in the face.
Do you know what? You mugged me. I tweeted that and you mugged me off. I said, you can't put that on Twitter. Now you've just used it on a podcast.
I have to rein you in.
That's a tenner, please.
I have to I'm going to give you a tenner. But I have to rein you in on Twitter, because otherwise
Because if you let me loose on there,
it'd be a nightmare.
pow, pow, coming for you. No.
Just cut that out.
Nah, don't cut it. Be a man. Be
No, cut that.
In terms of like the industry though, like how important, and this is something I reflected on going through that whole experience, is like how important is it to have actual industry, like within the financial industry, knowledge?
Yeah,
Extremely.
and contacts. Contacts are key, aren't they? Really.
Prop firms are, a lot of people are at the wheel of this company, and some of them are very unclear as to what they're actually driving, what they've got on their hands. And at the core basics of it, you can compare it very similar to a IG, a CMC, IC Markets, is a brokerage. There's obviously a lot of nuanced differences. You know, there's no deposits, it's fees. There's no live trading, it's virtual trading. But at the end of the day, you're collecting data off of individuals. You have to pay those analysts for that data, and you have to, monetize that. It's got to be worth something. You got to be able to run a book. You've got to be able to run risk. That's what brokers do. You see you go to IC Markets, it will say at the bottom, disclaimer, 85% of retail investors will lose money with this provider. It's the same premise with props. So,
and I think that was the lie, wasn't it? Sorry to jump in there, but that was the lie, and I said it for years, didn't I? From the start, I said the first thing that will happen in this industry, the brokers will turn the props off, because all them brokers are doing, they're not running the back end, they're not running their risk management, they're just giving them demo take. That's all they're doing. They're not involved in their business.
But it's like, let's say I want to set up a broker, and I go, let's say you're IC Markets. I want to set up a broker, and I go, hey, I want to set up a broker. You just give me all the stuff. I'm just going to be in the front end. Well, if I haven't got the back end, how am I going to manage that brokerage? I can't, because I can't control the liquidity providers. Can't
execute trades because regulatory.
You can't control it. Or there's so much ring fence. There's so far away. There's so many third parties involved that it's difficult to actually control the company. You haven't got the infrastructure to control it. If you was to set up a broker, you would set up the infrastructure.
Yeah, but going back to your question though, Riz, like, do you need a lot of experience in the financial industry? But I'd actually disagree just slightly. I'd probably say no. Like, you do have to have your hands over there. But I think the simple principles of running any business still apply to this business. Of course. Like, I like to look at the foundations of the business, but where George has been great is George has heavily invested into technology, not necessarily to enhance our customer experience, but stuff that I wouldn't have a clue about. George is like, no, we need this, and we need to keep investing heavily to improve our customer experience into technology. I haven't got a clue about that. That's not being a financial guru, is it? That's just being smart and
that's just on the tech. Yeah,
but I think leveraging some of your concepts as well. Like, a lot of people, they don't know where to go. They haven't got people that are well connected in the industry in different areas, or can open doors like you can open. Yeah. Like, I know this person at this firm. I'll give them a knock on the door. You're never going to get that if you don't know.
To add to that, I would add as well, like, maybe not even just financial, but that was one of the points I made in one of the videos, was having even just business, like high-level business experience. Because I feel like what happened in this situation is just there was people who've never run a business before or at a high level and don't have the financial sort of understanding either. So just the business side of it is what then led to this. Because I think there's an element of luck, element of like
when you get
marketing.
to that scale, that large, small decisions.
We'd struggle, wouldn't we? Yeah. Me and you together would struggle. If it was just me and you, it would be a disaster.
Yeah, but small decisions make a big impact at that scale. It could because if you're dealing with 100,000 customers a month, let's just say, or 50,000 customers a month, and the small decision will affect 10%.
Yeah.
That's a large number of traders that then get affected by that small decision. You know,
It's also everyone learns from their mistakes. I mean, speaking about you, but whoever these other guys are that were running the business, none of them have gone out purposely to do this either, and they will bounce back from there. And I've made loads of mistakes, and I've lost loads of money.
We all have.
You know, it just happens.
We all have.
This is hopefully for you and the other guys that are involved. Even if you do go your separate ways, it's just a blip for that. You know,
learning curve. You learn from it. You move.
I don't think nothing was malicious. Nothing was malicious.
As long as you don't make the same mistake twice, then I think everyone's going to make mistakes.
Yeah. And this industry,
we all
bear in mind, there's going to be a lot more mistakes made in this industry.
Yes.
Because, and where that's going to end, we don't know. I mean, you know, you get a lot of people going, it needs to be regulated, it needs to be that. And as we all know, that probably isn't the answer. Because once you start bringing those sorts of things in, things get harder. They get harder for the consumer, they get harder for the business owner, which I'm sure you'd agree with that, Drew.
Yeah.
Everything gets more difficult. So what you're getting at the moment, that you've got an opportunity to make a load of money, if that does come in, things will change. And mark my words, rewind this back in a year's 2-3 years comes, things will change. There'll be things that come into place that you can't do. You won't have the opportunity to make that kind of money. I promise you. That's what regulatory people do. They come in and they change it up. Well, you've seen it in the CFD game when I used to work for you. You know, there was a lot of leverage. ESMA came in. ESMA cut the leverage massively down in the UK. So then all of a sudden, you couldn't trade with a UK broker because you have limited cap leverage, so you couldn't make as much money. So it does happen.
For you, Riz, obviously, I know we're all, you know, we've discussed before here and a little bit downstairs. You know, we've discussed you coming on board for the Alpha Group and, you know, hosting podcasts and kind of heading up just content for the Alpha Group. But putting that aside, and obviously, you know, maybe you do want to do that, or we can come to some kind of agreement. But what's your next steps? You know, what are you looking at over the next 6 months, 12 months? Like, where do you want to take your journey? Where do you see yourself kind of going from kind of the difficult time you've just gone through over the past month or two?
I feel like going through what I went through, it was just learning to stick with what you're good at and what you know. So for me, for example, like not that I'm not good at it. Obviously, I have to learn to get good at that side of things in terms of being involved in any of those sort of businesses. But I'm good at content, and content, I can do businesses around content. Yeah. And that's what I should have been focused on rather than outside things, right? And so therefore, that's my focus really. One is obviously to continue to innovate what we've built. Bring new things in so you don't get, because otherwise it can grow to a certain extent, but then you keep doing the same thing, it can only grow so far. You have to then innovate or think of ideas to innovate to then go to the next step and so on. So for me, it's more innovation, more creativity, you know, taking on more content sort of roles versus trying to go elsewhere. So it's basically doubling down on my strengths is my focus really. So like what you guys have mentioned in terms of Alpha Group, that sort of leans into that, because I'm not going to have to say do what I've done in the past where it's like, yes, I'm making content, but then I'm also on paper, I'm an owner here, so I need to be trying to get involved and stressing, etc.
3-4 hats on is difficult.
Yeah, so rather than that, just like focusing on what I enjoy, you know.
And someone, a really smart person said this to me once, and I used to always say, I need to focus on this, my weaknesses. But everyone used to say, nah, man, that's not what you do. That's why we've worked so well together, because each single one of us were very different. Me and you similar in certain ways, just like proper geezers. Sorry, George. But no, on a serious note, like I don't have to worry about the back end stuff. I don't have to worry about the tech stuff. I just need to worry about my community, make sure that good customer service, doing deals like this, and they worry about that, and then vice versa. And I think, you know, double down on your strengths. But you know, I think that if we can get this relationship off the ground, the energy we've got between all teams. There's Riz's team sitting over there. But I think with all teams, I think we can, you know, we can bring this together. Let us do what we do best, and you do what you do best.
Yeah.
And there's that line drawn in the sand where it's like, right, Riz Iqbal is the content man, you know, and let's do something bigger than anyone's ever done before, because we are prepared to invest in it, time-wise. Maybe not you, time-wise. He hates being here, by the way. He hates it.
You bubbled us twice.
I can see him just like that. I can see this.
I was saying, we got him chained to the chair. That's what I go.
Yeah, that's why his watch is the size of a clock, because he just keeps going. But no, I think putting this all together, I think will just be a great relationship and a brand new lease of life for both sides.
I agree. So thank you for coming on today, Riz.
No, it's been an absolute pleasure. No, thank you. Thank you for having me.
And obviously, take a shot. See if you can pop one.
You'd have to line up.
It's too much pressure, though.
Actually, no, just take it free. Pick a shot.
It's 100 quid, Riz, as well, if you miss.
This one here.
Okay, wait.
He's been practicing word on the street.
Old school technique as well. With the finger.
Oh!
You know.
On that note,
Right,
it's a
there we are.
wrap.
Walk off now.
Yeah, mic drop.
Well done, mate. What do you think, boys? Good? You love it, don't you? Good.
Thank you, Mitch. No, appreciate it.